So ladies and gentlemen, fight number 5 this evening will be contested in the amateur lightweight division over 3 3-minute rounds. And introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he weighed in at 62.4 kilos and trains out of Adrenaline MMA. Tonight he makes his MMA debut. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Michael Urbanski. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, he weighed in at 64.5 kilos and trains out of Integrated MMA, holding an undefeated amateur record of 2 wins and 0 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Trevor Roadkill Sinclair. And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Nikia Melody.
So we know a lot about Trevor Sinclair, but Michael Urbanski, a bit of a dark horse coming into this fight.
Yeah, no, you're right, Matt. Don't know too much about Urbanski. Trains out of a good gym, though, Adrenaline MMA, and already looking sharp on the feet. Beautiful movement and nice outside low kick, kicking things off.
Wow.
Oh, Trevor Sinclair, just the look on his face when he fights is terrifying, as we see now, in on a kick catch to a single leg. Almost locks the hands, but beautiful transition there from a single to double, back to single, and eventually gets it to the mat.
So technical in, isn't it? I remember at XFC 37 when, sorry, XFC 30, yeah, that's right, XFC 37 when Trevor Sinclair made his debut, a lot of people were touching him on the shoulder, questioning whether or not it was a professional fight. Just the type of game plan that Trevor Sinclair brought to the table.
So it was really interesting. I got the opportunity to have a quick chat to Trevor prior to this fight here tonight, and he said he really did want to try and get tested a bit in the wrestling department. So has seen a little bit of footage on Michael Urbanski, he said, and as he understands, Michael a very talented wrestler, and that's what we're seeing so far. So Trevor getting his wish and getting this wrestling test.
Yeah, Michael's gotten the fight to the ground. He hasn't done much just at the moment, looking to establish a position. So it'll be interesting to see if he's got more of a wrestling game plan towards his fight, or if he's actually looking to advance position and start throwing some bombs down.
Yeah, well, looking at the damage that Trevor Sinclair's done in his last 2 fights on the feet, I think taking him down is probably the safest option there, Matt.
Funny, helping a couple of fighters try and match some fights, and yeah, when they send through Trevor Sinclair as the opponent, the first thing I tend to do is send a photo of Oscar Ling's face after one of those fights.
Yeah, no, I think Roadkill's a great name for Trevor Sinclair, because usually when he's finished with you, you look like Roadkill. Mind you, though, opening a minute and a half to this one, Michael Urbanski getting the best of it. Not a whole lot of action on top, but doing a great job as far as control is concerned. So, of course, training out of Adrenaline MMA with the likes of Aiden Aguilera, Matt Myers, Joey Karami. So a room full of talented fighters there at Adrenaline MMA, Matt.
Yeah, they must have some fighters coming through the roster as well. So having to talk to Wayne Carl and Brian Ebersole, who are putting the XFC Demolition fight card down on in Melbourne. Apparently 42 nominations came through.
Oh, wow.
From the gym out at Adrenaline MMA. So, yeah, obviously putting together a nice little decent roster.
Oh, look at this little arm trap here, what they like to refer to these days as the D'Agostini handcuff around the back end, hooking the far wrist there of Trevor Sinclair. So Michael Urbanski, some beautiful top position and wrestling control here. Still 22 seconds to go. Let's see what he can do. Trevor Sinclair in a world of trouble here.
Must be some solid shoulder pressure too, which is trapping Trevor Sinclair's left hand.
And there we go, freeze the arm. So Trevor Sinclair surviving there, but I think it's very clearly going to be 1 round in the books for Michael Urbanski.
Yeah, definitely some nice solid wrestling from him, hasn't it? It's got him through the round.
Well, this is going to be very interesting this next round to see how Trevor Sinclair bounces back. Obviously, conditioning never an issue with the boys at Integrated MMA. Adrian Pang certainly works them hard. And both boys looking good after that first round. And Adrenaline MMA product, Michael Urbanski, pretty clearly taking that one.
Got to say, though, it definitely breaks your heart a little bit when you see Isaac Hardman in the XFC cage. And no chance at the moment of him chucking a set of gloves back on anytime soon.
Yeah, he was certainly one of the men to watch in that professional lightweight division. It's probably a couple of big wins from making it to the big show. But Isaac, he's decided to pursue professional boxing and absolutely tearing the house down with that 4-0, I believe, with 4 knockouts.
Yeah, very impressive. And you know, while we were working together, he'd actually turned down 2 UFC debuts. You know, obviously he was going through his knee operation.
Yep.
Probably preferred to have had a warm-up fight before he took those UFC fights. But yeah, now doing some incredible things in the boxing scene. And, you know, sparring and training with the likes of Jeff Horn.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed that one day he'll get locked back in that XFC cage for us.
Absolutely.
And here we go, Nakia Melody clapping the fighters back in round number 2. Game plan's pretty clear at this point. Michael Urbanski will probably be looking to try and snap Trevor Sinclair back down onto the mat. Trevor wanting to get that Muay Thai off, and some slick head movement there from Roadkill.
Isn't it a crazy sport where this sport where
Oh!
He's hurt him. Has he hurt him?
Big shots. Trevor Sinclair in trouble.
Oh!
Put him back. Big hook lands.
What a crazy sport.
Michael Urbanski straight back in on that single leg. And looking to try and ground Trevor Sinclair now for the, well, I guess the remainder of the round if he really had his way. Still 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, so plenty of time left in this round. Trevor Sinclair trying to hit the switch there.
And on the ground, not a position he wants to be in again, considering the way the first round finished off, but if he was to be taken down, he's basically millimetres away from Adrian Pang in his corner, so Adrian Pang will definitely be doing his best to shout out some instructions.
So he's doing a good job stuffing the head here. You'll hear a lot of wrestling coaches say that, you know, pretty much all takedown defense starts with trying to stuff that head. And here we go. Nice sprawl position. His corner screaming at him to get up. And Trevor Sinclair decides to go to the back. Let's see what he's got for us here in this back control position.
Both corners screaming at their fighters to get up.
Yeah, interesting. Trevor Sinclair, he said he wanted to test his ground game here. And against the corner advice here, landing some big shots.
So Dan, how do you find it? Like, I'm by no means this level of competition, but obviously I had a boxing match only a couple of months ago, and one thing I noticed that in my head while I was fighting, I was 3 or 4 combinations ahead of my coach. So when they started screaming out certain instructions, I had to actually have to stop and pull back and listen. Is this what we're probably experiencing from both fighters right now? Yeah,
well, it's always an interesting kind of position for fighters to be in. As some big knees lands from Trevor Sinclair. Oh, and big shots. So just touching back on your point there, Matt, it is always an interesting position for the fighter to be in, hearing the advice from the corner. As you know, the fighter's the one in there. They get the feel for the fight. If Trevor Sinclair is feeling strong in this position, he'll just stay here all day. One interesting note I want to bring up here is that Trevor Sinclair did almost get DQ'd in his last fight for a knee to the head of a grounded opponent. So he actually spoke to me about that pre-fight, saying he's never going to do that again. So you could really see him thinking about it there in that position.
And I tell you, massive props to Craig Bright in that fight too. That was a knee that would have stopped any opponent. But yeah, for Craig to continue there.
So here we go, Trevor Sinclair looking to try and establish top position, and he's going to end up in top half guard as we hear the 10-second clapper. Well, I think it's no secret. We're going to be tied up at 1-1 going into this third and final round, Matt. What a fight.
Phenomenal turnaround from Trevor Sinclair too, to possibly look like he was in a little bit of danger when he copped a couple of those strikes.
Oh, wow. Looks like there might be an injury. Michael Urbanski clutching that right knee, and they've waved it off.
Called it.
Oh, wow. Trevor Sinclair wins a TKO by injury. Looks like some pretty serious damage done there to the right knee of Michael Urbanski. Wow, Trevor Sinclair moves to 3-0, and well, that's 3 TKOs in the books as well.
What a brutal, brutal sport, isn't it? That one half of that round, Michael Urbanski's looking for the stoppage and only seconds away from possibly pulling it off. Trevor Sinclair comes out with the counter. He putting his opponent back on his heels, didn't he?
He just has that look about him, Trevor Sinclair. He looks like he's going to be something special. I'm so excited to see what the rest of his career has. And I tell you what, he's probably keeping a pretty close look at that lightweight title fight coming up later tonight. Of course, one of his teammates fighting in it. If it goes against his teammate, who knows? He might be the next one in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're exactly right. Tim Schultz versus Connor Birch fighting for the lightweight title later.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our referee has called a stop to this contest at 5 minutes of round number 2, declaring your winner by TKO in the red corner, Trevor Roadkill Sinclair. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with your winner from fight number 5. Trevor Roadkill Sinclair moves to 3-0 with 3 knockout finishes. Trevor, very entertaining fight there, back and forth with the opening 2 rounds. Give us your thoughts on how that one went down.
Went pretty good, but a bit of a shame what happened. Would have been good to have a 3rd round, maybe 4 and a 5th as well, but what can you do?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of talking to you before the fights tonight, and you made mention of the fact you really wanted to test your grappling in this one. Obviously, your opening 2 fights of your career, you really got the damage done in the feet, so pretty impressive to see the evolution of your ground game tonight.
Yeah, getting there, mate, getting there. Well, like I said, would have been a bit better if it went a bit longer.
And I'm sure you've got a lot of people you'd like to thank over there at the famed Integrated MMA.
I didn't hear a word you said. Ads, definitely ads. All the boys, Isaac, Nelson, Grego, Marco back home, everyone, Craig, every dude at the gym. Fucking awesome. Yeah, it's just sick.
Well, you're certainly one of the hottest prospects at lightweight right now. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your winner, Trevor Roadkill Sinclair.